Julius Caesar, one of the greatest leaders in Roman history, is renowned for his exceptional political and military talents. His name is synonymous with ambition, strategy, and leadership. Yet in the days leading up to his infamous assassination, Caesar experienced a peculiar dream, one that seemed to foreshadow his own death. According to historical accounts, this dream was no ordinary vision. Caesar saw himself betrayed by those closest to him, a chilling premonition of the events that would soon unfold, coupled with other ominous warnings, including a plea from his wife Calpurnia. This dream has been viewed by many as a divine signal of the impending tragedy. But was this dream truly a prophetic message, or merely a reflection of Caesar's subconscious fears amid a politically unstable Rome? Join us as we delve into the haunting tale of Caesar's final days, the betrayal that sealed his fate, and the dream that continues to captivate historians and storytellers alike. Born in 100 BCE into a patrician family in Rome, Gaius Julius Caesar was destined for greatness. His lineage traced back to the Julii clan, one of the most ancient and respected families in Roman society, claiming divine descent from Venus herself. However, despite his noble birth, Caesar's early life was marked by political upheaval and personal challenges that shaped his ambitious nature. Caesar rose to prominence through his extraordinary military campaigns, most notably his conquest of Gaul, which corresponds to modern-day France and parts of Belgium. Over the course of 8 years, 5850 BCE, he led his legions to victory against various Gallic tribes, showcasing unparalleled strategic brilliance, tactical genius. Caesar's ability to adapt to changing battle conditions and his unmatched leadership skills earned him the loyalty of his soldiers. His victories were not just military achievements, but also political maneuvers that enhanced his power back in Rome, expanding the empire. By subduing Gaul, Caesar secured vast territories and immense wealth for Rome, solidifying its position as the dominant power in the Mediterranean. The Gallic Wars. His written account of these campaigns, Commentari de Bello Gallico, remains a classic example of military literature, providing both propaganda and a glimpse into his tactical mind. Through his campaigns, Caesar transformed Rome from a city-state with a republic into an empire on the brink of monarchy, earning the admiration of some and the resentment of others. In 44 BCE, Julius Caesar assumed the title Dictator Perpetuo, dictator for life. This unprecedented move was both a reflection of his unrivaled power and a challenge to the traditional republican values of Rome. Historical reforms. Caesar introduced a series of sweeping reforms during his rule, including overhauling the Roman calendar into the Julian calendar, which forms the basis of the modern calendar, granting citizenship to people in far-flung regions of the empire, fostering loyalty among diverse populations, reducing debt and redistributing land to veterans and the poor, addressing social and economic inequalities. While these reforms improved the lives of many Romans, they also highlighted Caesar's growing centralization of power. The Republican danger. His rise to dictator perpetuo alarmed the Roman elite, who feared that Caesar sought to abolish the republic and establish a monarchy. This fear was compounded by his acceptance of extravagant honors, including statues of himself erected alongside those of the gods and his face appearing on coins, privileges typically reserved for deities. As Caesar's power grew, so did the resentment among the Senate and other influential figures in Roman society. His political adversaries viewed his concentration of power as a betrayal of Rome's republican ideals. Enemies within, some senators, including Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus, who had once been allies, became his staunch opponents. The tipping point. Caesar's open disregard for tradition and the Senate's authority pushed his critics into plotting against him. To them, his assassination was not just an act of rebellion, but a means to restore the Republic. Julius Caesar's achievements in military conquest, political reform, and governance redefined Rome's trajectory. His ambition, however, made him a polarizing figure, admired as a visionary by some and despised as a tyrant by others. His ascent to power and his title of Dictator Perpetuo were pivotal moments in Roman history, setting the stage for the eventual rise of the Roman Empire under his heir, Augustus. Yet these very accomplishments also sealed his fate, leading to the betrayal and assassination that continue to define his legacy. Caesar's life serves as a reminder of the fine line between heroism and hubris, and his story remains a cornerstone of history, celebrated for its grandeur and marked by its tragedy. Historical accounts, particularly those recorded by the Roman historian Suetonius, suggest that Julius Caesar experienced a haunting dream shortly before his assassination. This dream, filled with vivid imagery, seemed to foreshadow the tragic events of the Ides of March and continues to be a topic of fascination and speculation. According to Suetonius, Caesar dreamt of being stabbed to death by those closest to him. In his vision, he saw himself walking into a sacred temple dedicated to Jupiter, the king of the Roman gods. Within the temple, the statue of Jupiter began to bleed, a chilling omen of betrayal and impending doom. This symbolic imagery reflects the divine and political weight of Caesar's impending fate. The blood pouring from the statue of Jupiter, a god associated with authority and protection, could signify the betrayal of Rome's ideals and the violent end of its leader. For a man as ambitious and attuned to omens as Caesar, this dream must have been deeply unsettling. While Caesar's dream was alarming, his wife Calpurnia also experienced a disturbing premonition the night before his assassination. Historical sources, including Plutarch, recount that Calpurnia dreamt of her husband's murder. In her vision, she saw Caesar's body lying lifeless, covered in blood as Roman citizens mourned his death. Deeply shaken by this dream, Calpurnia pleaded with Caesar not to attend the Senate meeting scheduled for March 15, 44 BCE. She believed the dream was a clear warning from the gods to avoid danger. Calpurnia's fears were further amplified by other ominous signs, including strange occurrences in the city and warnings from soothsayers about the Ides of March. Despite the warnings from his dream, Calpurnia's pleas, and the prophetic caution of a soothsayer who famously told him to beware the Ides of March, Caesar chose to proceed with his plans. Historians suggest that Caesar's dismissal of these warnings may have stemmed from a combination of pride, rationalism, and political necessity. For Caesar, staying home from the Senate meeting could have been seen as a sign of weakness, something he could not afford in the politically charged atmosphere of Rome. His decision to ignore these omens ultimately led him to the theater of Pompey, where a group of conspirators awaited him with deadly intent. The dreams of Caesar and Calpurnia remain a compelling element of his assassination story. These premonitions, whether divine warnings or reflections of underlying anxieties, highlight the intersection of personal intuition and political reality in ancient Rome. Caesar's dream of betrayal and Calpurnia's vision of his death add a layer of tragedy and inevitability to the events of the Ides of March. They remind us of the fragility of power and the weight of fate in the lives of history's most influential figures. The Ides of March, March 15th, 44 BCE, became one of the most infamous dates in history, marking the tragic end of Julius Caesar. Despite numerous warnings and ominous signs, Caesar ignored the pleas of his wife Calpurnia and dismissed the advice of a soothsayer who famously cautioned, "Beware the Ides of March." This decision would seal his fate and alter the course of Roman history forever. In the days leading up to the Ides of March, Caesar was inundated with warnings of danger. Calpurnia's dream vividly portrayed his death, and even trusted advisors urged caution. Additionally, a soothsayer, whose words have become legendary, explicitly warned Caesar to be wary of March 15th. Despite these repeated cautions, Caesar, driven by his ambition and perhaps a sense of invincibility, chose to proceed with his plans to attend the Senate meeting at the theater of Pompey. Historians suggest that Caesar may have seen staying home as a sign of weakness, something unacceptable for a leader of his stature. He also had political motives to appear strong and unwavering in the face of perceived threats. Unbeknownst to Caesar, a group of senators, led by Gaius Cassius Longinus and Marcus Junius Brutus, had been plotting his assassination. These men, who had once been allies, saw Caesar's growing power as a threat to the Republic and their own influence. Brutus's betrayal. Among the conspirators was Brutus, whom Caesar regarded as a close friend and trusted confidant. The inclusion of Brutus in the conspiracy was not just a tactical move but a symbolic blow, as his betrayal would resonate deeply with Caesar and the Roman people. As Caesar entered the Senate chambers, the conspirators closed in. Pretending to present a petition, they surrounded him, isolating him from his guards and allies. In a swift and brutal attack, the senators drew daggers hidden beneath their robes and began stabbing Caesar. According to historical accounts, he was struck 23 times by the group of conspirators. Despite his strength and attempts to fight back, Caesar succumbed to his injuries. The most memorable moment of this tragic scene was Caesar's recognition of Brutus among the attackers. Legend holds that Caesar's final words were, "Et tu, Brute?" "You too, Brutus?" A heart-wrenching expression of betrayal. While the exact phrasing is debated, the sentiment remains a defining element of his assassination. Caesar's death was not merely the end of a man, but the conclusion of an era. His assassination marked the fall of the Roman Republic, a system of governance that had lasted for centuries. However, the conspirators' hopes of restoring the Republic were short-lived. In the power vacuum left by Caesar's death, his adopted heir, Octavian, later Augustus, rose to power, consolidating authority and establishing the Roman Empire. The assassination of Caesar, intended to save the Republic, ironically led to its permanent demise. The events of the Ides of March serve as a cautionary tale about ambition, power, and betrayal. Caesar's choice to ignore the warnings around him, coupled with the calculated actions of the conspirators, culminated in one of the most significant turning points in history. Though Caesar fell to the daggers of his enemies, his influence endured, shaping the Roman Empire and leaving a legacy that continues to captivate historians and storytellers alike. The betrayal by Brutus and the senators serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of trust and the unpredictable nature of politics. Dreams often serve as reflections of our deepest fears and anxieties, and for Julius Caesar, his fateful dream may have been no different. In the tense political climate of ancient Rome, with conspiracies brewing and loyalties shifting, Caesar's dream of betrayal could be seen as a manifestation of his subconscious awareness of the dangers surrounding him. The dream, in which Caesar envisioned being betrayed and killed, has been interpreted by some historians as a product of his own fears rather than a divine premonition. By the time of his assassination, Caesar's rise to power had created significant unrest among the Roman elite. His reforms and growing influence led to resentment and paranoia within the Senate, with many viewing him as a threat to the Republic living in such a volatile environment. It is possible that Caesar's dream reflected his underlying apprehension about betrayal and the precariousness of his position. For a leader as astute as Caesar, the dream may have symbolized his recognition of the shifting alliances and hidden dangers within his inner circle. Among the conspirators who assassinated Caesar, none symbolized betrayal more profoundly than Marcus Junius Brutus. Caesar regarded Brutus as a close ally and even as a surrogate son. This bond made Brutus's involvement in the conspiracy particularly shocking and emotionally devastating. The ultimate betrayal, Brutus' decision to join the assassination plot, has become a timeless symbol of personal betrayal. His name is now synonymous with treachery, immortalized in Caesar's supposed last words, "Et tu, Brute." Brutus's betrayal not only ended Caesar's life, but also cemented the idea that even the most trusted individuals can turn against you when power and politics are involved. Many believe that Caesar's dream, along with the warnings from Calpurnia and the soothsayer, was more than a subconscious reflection. It was a divine warning of the tragedy to come, a prophetic vision. The imagery in Caesar's dream, such as the bleeding statue of Jupiter, is often interpreted as a supernatural omen of his impending demise. Ignored omens. Despite the warnings from his dream and the pleas of his wife, Caesar chose to dismiss these signs, either out of pride or a sense of invincibility. This decision proved fatal, leading to one of the most infamous assassinations in history. Whether the dream was a subconscious reflection or a divine message, its significance lies in its forewarning of the betrayal that ultimately claimed Caesar's life. Julius Caesar's dream, and the betrayal it foreshadowed, serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of power and the enduring impact of trust, or its absence. The betrayal by Brutus remains one of history's most iconic moments, symbolizing the deep emotional wounds that come from being betrayed by someone you trust implicitly. Whether viewed as a psychological projection or a supernatural premonition, Caesar's dream captures the complexities of power, loyalty. The death of Julius Caesar marked a turning point in Roman history. Though his assassination on the Ides of March was intended to restore the Republic, it instead paved the way for the rise of the Roman Empire under his adopted heir, Augustus. Caesar's influence endured far beyond his death, shaping the course of history and leaving lessons about power, loyalty, and ambition. Following Caesar's assassination, Rome descended into a period of political chaos and civil war. Amid this turmoil, Gaius Octavius, later known as Augustus, emerged as the most powerful figure in Rome. As Caesar's adopted son and named successor, Augustus inherited his political legacy and the loyalty of his supporters. Through strategic alliances and military victories, Augustus defeated his rivals and established himself as Rome's first emperor. The birth of the Roman Empire. Under Augustus, Rome transitioned from a republic to an empire. He implemented reforms that brought stability, expanded the empire's borders, and initiated a period of peace known as the Pax Romana, Roman peace. Though Caesar did not live to see this transformation, his leadership and reforms laid the groundwork for Rome's imperial future. Julius died. Caesar's name became synonymous with authority and leadership. His ambition and achievements elevated him to a near-mythical status in history. Caesar's military conquests and political reforms reshaped Rome, transforming it into his title, Caesar, became a symbol of supreme authority, later adopted by emperors like Augustus and even influencing titles such as Kaiser in Germany and Tsar in Russia. Despite his accomplishments, Caesar's life was also a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the fragility of power. His rise and fall serve as a reminder that great leadership comes with great risks, particularly in the volatile arena of politics. The assassination of Julius Caesar offers timeless lessons about ambition, loyalty, and the importance of vigilance against threats. Caesar's relentless pursuit of power made him a target for those who feared the loss of the Republic. His ambition, while transformative, also contributed to his downfall. The involvement of trusted allies, such as Brutus, in his assassination underscores the complexity of loyalty and the potential for betrayal in positions of power. Caesar's decision to dismiss warnings and omens about his fate highlights the dangers of overconfidence and ignoring potential threats. Julius Caesar's legacy is one of both triumph and tragedy. He remains a figure of immense historical significance, celebrated for his leadership and remembered for the dramatic end to his life. His death marked the end of the Roman Republic, but also set the stage for the rise of one of history's greatest empires. As a symbol of power, leadership, and the human cost of ambition, Caesar's story continues to captivate and inspire, offering valuable lessons that resonate to this day. Following the assassination of Julius Caesar, the Roman Empire continued to grow and thrive under the leadership of his adopted heir, Augustus. As Caesar's successor, Augustus capitalized on the political and military foundation laid by Caesar, transitioning Rome from a republic to an empire. His reign marked the beginning of the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and prosperity that would last for over 2 centuries. Julius Caesar, however, became much more than a historical figure. He emerged as a symbol of power, leadership, and the complexities of ambition. His military conquests, political reforms, and centralization of authority showcased his vision and ability to lead. Yet his dramatic assassination also highlighted the dangers of overreach and the fragile nature of trust in political environments. Caesar's death serves as a timeless lesson about the cost of ambition, the nuances of loyalty, and the importance of vigilance against threats. His story is a poignant reminder that even the most powerful leaders must navigate the delicate balance between authority and caution. To this day, Caesar's legacy endures, both as an extraordinary leader who transformed Rome and as a cautionary tale of the perils of power.